president has, also filed a rejection, asking the Supreme Court to reject such a leave and not grant such a leave. But then, Monday, October 23, the Supreme Court would the appeals from the People's Democratic Party and Atiku, the Labour Party, and Peter Obi, as well as the APM. Now, the PDP and Atiku have filed 21 grounds of appeal, and the Labour Party, rather 31, right? About 31 grounds of appeal, while the Labour Party and Peter Obi is coming with about 51 grounds. I beg your pardon. PDP and Atiku filed 35 grounds, while Peter Obi and the Labour Party are filing 31 grounds of appeal to the Supreme Court. Well, we'll see what plays out. We'll try to tread carefully with this conversation so that we're not held in contempt of court. Recall that the Elections Petitions Tribunal had dismissed all the appeals, or rather the petitions by the opposition parties, and said they lacked merit and all of that. Would the Supreme Court go in that direction, or would the Supreme Court, turn around the decisions of the Court of Appeal, or where the petitions, rather the Presidential Election Petitions Court was held? Would it turn it down, or overturn it, or would they, uphold those decisions of the Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal? From Monday, again, they say all eyes on the judiciary, right? Well, okay, so moving away from that, today happens to be October 20, 2023. On this day, 3 years ago, I said that a lot of young people lost their lives at the Lekki toll gate. And as such, today is considered a memorial, even though unofficial. Many Nigerians, especially young people, on that day. But then 3 years out, those recommendations have not been implemented. There were supposed to be compensations for some victims of the ANSARS, but then some of them, do we obey laws in this country, or do we just say things just to say them? And then represented Edo South in the Senate between 2003 and 2000 job. It should be a part-time thing. It shouldn't be a full-time job, and it's not a career. It's not a full-time career. So maybe we need to revisit our laws and make sure that lawmakers do not sit. It's not a full-time job that comes with salaries and allowances and all. Maybe sitting allowance, right? It shouldn't come with all of those salaries and all of those other exaggerated or over bloated allowances. So you get your sitting allowance every time that you come to sit. That's what many have advocated going way back into, maybe 10, 15 years ago. I've heard Nigerians say, look, the National Assembly and the legislative arm should not be a full-time gig. There are people who parade themselves as full-time politicians. Their career is politics. Politics is not a career, is it? Okay, yeah, we know that people go to school to study political science and all of that. But as a politician, it shouldn't be a full-time job, should it? Now, especially for lawmakers. You should sit down. By the way, the Constitution says it recommends 181 days, for sittings in a year for the National Assembly. So if out of the 365, Assembly is not expected. So if you and I, who are full-time workers, who are under employment, are required to go to work for 300. Now, the rest of the time, which is about 131 days, amounting to about, right? They can be anything else that you want to be in those other days. So 4 months in a year, they can not be anything. They can be any other thing but politicians. Commands that they should not be full-time employees. They should not be sitting like the executive or working like the executive who work for 30 days or 25 days in the month and then work for about 313 days in the year. If that's the anticipation, then they should just get paid for the days that they work. Doesn't it make sense? Or maybe we'll just go and revisit the Constitution and say, lawmakers, for every time that you sit, this is how much you get on the day that you sit. And if you do not sit, because you go to the National Assembly. So recently, there were concerns in the National Assembly because laws were made and bills were passed even when several or many other lawmakers were not around. On the days of plenary, many lawmakers were not around. But at the end of the day, they get paid. The only thing they may not get is the sitting allowance. Why don't we just make that different and say, look, we're going to pay you for every day that you come to the assembly and you sit and you hold plenary. We pay you for those days and you go back to being whatever it is that you were. After all, most of them are lawyers. And that would probably even make people who have no business in lawmaking, who probably do not even have a school cert, real school cert, have no business going to the National Assembly. Because they are now all just politicians. Everybody does politics getting there. Whether you're qualified to be a lawmaker or not, you go in there. Whether you know anything about the law or not, you go in there and you sit. And you, at the end of the people who sit in the National Assembly for years, and all they go there to do is sleep. We've seen them. Some of them do not have up to 5 bills that they've sponsored in the entire period of their career. Some of them do not have more than 10. So what are they really doing there? They would not even stand up to say, oh, we argue or anything. They don't. So what's the point of having them there? Think about it. And now, to another big one. Yesterday, the president withdrew the appointment of Imam, the 24-year-old who was appointed. The president withdrew his appointment with immediate effect. And, well, when he was appointed to be the chairman of the board of FEMA, many Nigerians said, no, he shouldn't be. Some other Nigerians said, oh, well, leave him. Let him be, let him be the chairman. After all, the people who are leading us today, they also, mounted the straddle of leadership when they were at similar, ages, be the chairman of FEMA. Well, others will argue to say, look, maybe that's the reason this country is where it is. One of them is the person who said, oh, Nigeria's problem is not making money or Nigeria's problem is not money. The problem Nigeria has is how to spend it. I mean, is that something that a leader should be saying? Is that if they were mature enough, would they have said such a thing? Some of them led this country into wars, led an entire race into wars because of their youthful exuberance, needed to be in power, needed to be in control. They led us into coups and counter coups. Needless coups that have left this country where it is today. So maybe, yes, we're too young. And that's why we are where we are. Because I've heard people saying, oh, no, we wanted young people in. We say we want young people in governance. But then someone from nowhere and make him the chairman of a board. Doesn't make sense. Career, people climb up the ladder. There are people who are 40, 45 years old who are somewhere at level 9 or 10 in the civil service. They're still hoping to climb up the ladder. So why don't we have Yes, bring them in, but bring them in at the level where they're able to learn. How does a 24-year-old boy chair a board that has 70-year-old people, 60-year-old, or rather 70-year-olds, yeah, 60 people, his father's age, who have learned everything and know everything about, the service, who have worked their way up, and are very experienced. And you expect that this young boy would be able to make decisions that those people would, or would be able to respect their chairman. What's going to most likely happen is that people who are civil servants would use him. People who are on that board, other directors on that board, would use him to get what they want and put the country in problem. I mean, if he had experience, if he had worked before, maybe worked for a few years and understood how things worked, then yes, would understand. But someone who just finished youth service last year, there's certain positions that they shouldn't. Such a position, I don't believe that he should have held such a position. Personally, that's I don't know if my opinion counts, but I don't think that while people have worked their way up, a young man of 24 who has never worked, who doesn't have the requisite experience. Why do we ask people for requisite experience and ask them for cognitive experience? This is the reason. If you don't have cognitive experience, we think about it. Anyway, join the conversation. Let's talk now. 090-7353-0044, 090-8766-8888. Send SMS and WhatsApp messages to 090-9705-4450, 090-7353-0044, and 090-8766-8888. Your SMS and WhatsApp messages are welcome on 090-9705-4450. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Michael.
Good morning.
This is Alami calling once again from Venture at the moment. Mr. Anacho, I completely, wholeheartedly, I'm getting the vibe that, Alami, I resign from your job because going by the take of Ihanacho, there's no future for me in my choosing field as an aspiring career diplomat because I'm too young. And then in the area of my competence, when I'm found competent, because I'm 29 years old, I shouldn't get that position because I have to experience.
How long have you worked as a diplomat or as an aspiring diplomat in that area?
I've not stayed 8 years in service. I served my youth.
Are you climbing up the? Have you been promoted since you started working?
Pardon?
Have you been promoted since you started working? Become an ambassador someday. That's the path. There's a career path, isn't there? And you know that path. You cannot be taken from university and be made a career ambassador or an ambassador to a country. You know that.
No, this is not a career.
It's the same thing.
I'm having some. No. The guy is an engineer. He's a first-class engineer.
What experience does he have to become the chairman of a board? Think about it, man. Be very honest with yourself.
Look, 26 years old Khalid, was appointed by Governor Nancy El-Rufai in Kaduna to head the Kaduna investment.
Was appointed. Khalid was already working.
No, he wasn't. He was working as a president. He wasn't working for the government.
Oh, exactly, but he had work experience. I've heard this somewhere.
My point is, look, not just Khalid. 75% of the appointed and elected position in Kaduna State right now is occupied by youth under the age of 40. And 45% of these are women. Once upon a time in our country, a 32 years old was president, now became president. Those was President Buhari when he became president. These politicians were hearing of today.
Again, where did they lead us to? That's the question you would ask. Where did they lead us to?
That is what I'm saying. These people, they got into power from their early 20s. They have been in political and elected positions in their early 20s. If we're talking of experience, my question is, why does someone get experience if you do not give him the opportunity? It is this obsolete law and mindset that are completely isolated with the youth from the position of power, of executive power, where we can gain the experience. That is why I was very happy when in 32, 34 years.
Alamin, do you gain experience at executive positions? Is that where you gain experience?
Right now, like I said,
your argument is not sitting well, Alamin. You gain experience before you become an executive. You don't gain experience as an executive.
No, you can, but that position, okay, the guy that the 34 years old that was made minister for youth and the 36 years old PO that was made the honorable minister, what experience are they bringing in? The 36 years old, I mean 37 that was made minister, and Beta Edu, she's 37, 36.
Do you know that Beta Edu was commissioner? She's worked before now. She has garnered experience even before she became a commissioner.
Okay, so if you are talking of experience, my point is,
what are you saying?
Life expectancy, what is the life expectancy of Nigeria? And then in Nigeria, at what age do you graduate from the university? Where do you get those experience from? And then at what age would you not be able, if you are talking of gaining experience, then we are saying there is no place for Nigeria youth in governance. If you are talking of experience, as I'm talking to you now, I have my first degree in economic relations, second degree, my fourth master in political economy, my first master in state and country. I am more than competent to write any of the social problems that be appointed because I have no experience in that field.
You also just said that you've been working for some years. You were saying the same things, but your argument is falling flat in the sense that you're still making reference to the fact that you have been working. And if you've had experience working, you understand how the terrain is, you understand your career path, you understand the business that you're going to head. You just don't come from nowhere and you're heading a business that you don't have experience doing before.
Yeah, but don't forget, we have that even appointment is ceremonial.
Don't come to me with that, Alamin. Alamin, don't come to me with that. Let's this civil argument and learning from each other and bouncing off ideas. But it's been 6 minutes. Let's allow other callers in as well, Alamin.
Yeah,
thank you very much. Okay. Get your calls in. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Nacho, good morning.
Good morning, Okechukwu. Welcome.
Thank you. Let me just say something. Even in a business, a man will go and carry somebody and teach him the business for some years. Even if you want to open your business on your own, you have your money, you must go and learn that business.
Absolutely.
Before you open, you put your money into that business, that money will go. You will not achieve anything. That is what we are saying. This government, this APC government, to me, it seems like they are confused. Even if you want to give that boy that post, you will go and train him first. Let him go and learn the secret of that agency. Before you appoint him, someone that just finished NYC 1 year ago, you are giving him a head, the boss. So what will he do there? If those people that you are putting him under will mess him up. So please, let's not argue blind argument. That is what we are saying. Some people will just come, start arguing blind argument, something is not possible. So if they should give him benefit of opportunity so that he will learn. And you have not been in that business before.
Thank you very much.
You have gone to fail.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks again. So, again, I have nothing. I'm a young person. I want to aspire for a lot of things, right? But whatever position you're going to give somebody, let it be that the person understands. The young people in the US who are 26 and 27, they have a PhD, they're, probably lecturing somewhere or doing something, working within government and all, but these people had gained into before you make them executives in those places. There are 22-year-olds, 23-year-olds who are writing speeches for the president, and this is because there's somebody who supervises them. They write speeches, somebody goes through those speeches, until they become greater, until they become trusted enough to be able to write speeches, and without anyone vetting them, they go through. The young directors and heads of agencies in the US, no one has a grasp with that. You know why? Because most of the young people, they just don't come fresh from school and then you make them heads of an agency, no matter how intelligent they are. That's what the argument is. Experience you can count on.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
It's the Tiva Jeans Carnival. Yes, the Teens and Youth Ministry of Christ Embassy Abuja Zone proudly presents Tiva Jeans Carnival with Pastor Dipo Fisher.
This carnival will stimulate, refreshen and rebuild your...
Starting at noon at the Velodrome, National Stadium, Abuja.
It will be spiritually exciting, fulfilling and soul-lifting.
The Tiva Jeans Carnival, there is nothing like it.
Experience inspiring discussions, heart-pounding music and dance like never before.
Don't miss out on the Tiva Jeans Carnival. Mark your calendars and spread the word. See you there, and God bless you.
Christ Embassy, giving your life a meaning. Powered by Christ Embassy Abuja Zone.
To Financial Services Regulation and Coordinating Committee, FSRCC, tinyere National Broadcast Illegal Financial Operators, IFO, nke na-eme ka ndị mmadụ ghara inwekwa ntụkwasị obi ọzọ, tinyere na ngalaba na-ahụ maka ego na Nigeria enweghị nkwudosi ike. Ha jizi ohere agwa ndị ọha obodo ka ha kwụsị ịtụnyere ndị na-atụ mgbere ego enweghị akwụkwọ ikike. Ị nwekwara ike ime nchọpụta banyere akwụkwọ ikike ụlọ ọrụ dị otu a site n'akara webụsaịtị ndị a: www.cbn.gov.ng, www.nicom.gov.ng, www.pencom.gov.ng, www.sec.gov.ng. maka inye mkpesa banyere gburugburu ego n'ụdị ọbụla kpọọ 07002255226, 08002255226 maọbụ +234-817-665-6273. ozi a si n'aka FSRCC.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
And well, the conversation continues. Let's also remind you that the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has appointed former National Publicity Secretary of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, Mr. Larry Isaonilu, as the Director General of the National Orientation Agency, NOA. Other appointments made by the President on the list included heads of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, the News Agency of Nigeria, amongst others. Now, the National Orientation Agency Director General and CEO, Mr. Larry Isaonilu, Nigeria Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRC, and Director General and CEO, Dr. Mohammed Bulama, and the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, Director General and CEO is Mr. Charles Ibwebu. Voice of Nigeria, VON, Director General and CEO is Mr. Jibrin Baba Ndache. Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria, Alcon Director General and CEO is Dr. Lekon Fadolakbo. And News Agency of Nigeria, NAN, Managing Director and CEO is Mr. Ali Mohammed Ali. The Nigerian Press Council, NPC, Executive Secretary and CEO is Mr. Dili Ezuga. And those are the appointments made yesterday by the President into some of these agencies. There you have it. Well, the conversation continues. We've been talking on a couple of issues. The part-time, Parliament recommended by Senator Daisy Denjuma, as well as Atiku'S case, would be heard. The Atiku, Peter Obi, and all the Supreme Court has fixed dates to commence hearing Monday, 23rd of October. Also, President Tinubu withdrew the appointment of 24-year-old Imam, who was appointed as the chairman of the Board of FEMA. The conversation continues. Get your thoughts in. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Ian.
Good morning to you.
How are you doing today?
I'm very, very well.
My name is Emmanuel, future president.
Emmanuel, future president. Future president. How far have you joined politics?
Pardon?
Have you joined politics?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead, talk to me. Just go ahead, talk to me.
Okay, all right. Now I can hear you. Sorry. I want to speak on the rejection of a 124-year-old man that was rejected by President yesterday, right?
Yes.
The country, there are people who are qualified for a particular position, but because of the person is not from the other person's region, he should not be appointed or be given the job. So this has been playing out for long. How long will old men continue to dominate? I listened to your analysis about it, but I don't want to stand by. Though, if he has not occupied any political position or any office before, without experience, I think it's a genuine reason. But if he's a man of intellect and intelligent enough to have, someone will start from somewhere. You must begin from somewhere. He can be guided. I don't know why that rejection came, but all the same, APC as a party, as a leadership in power now, has nothing, absolutely nothing to offer Nigeria. That is what I see. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I totally get your point on learning on the job, but you don't learn on the job at an executive position, right? You can learn the job when you get up there. Then even if you're going to get guidance as an executive, it wouldn't be so much because you already have experience. You don't learn on the job as the boss. Okay, even people who want to start up their own businesses have to go and learn. It's going to be your own, or you're going to be your guy. But you have to go and learn from somebody. If not, if you do not, most of the businesses that fail in this world is because the owners or the proprietors of those businesses know nothing about the businesses that they start up. And once you start up a business that you don't know nothing about, if you're unable to let those who know it, or the CEO, if you don't know it, you don't know it. It's that simple. Learning on the job is about entry. There's something called entry level. So you are permitted to learn at that level, right? And you learn the job and learn the ropes, and then eventually you become whatever it is that you want to become. Anyway, get more thoughts in. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning,
Well
baby.
done. That's the way you know you would train how to do that business. You just bring a call, you fix and put for that business. That business, it will move well or it will not move well. At least before you want to nail something, you ask people where they're around you. Can this person qualify for this thing? If 2 people, 3 people say no, don't give that person that job. It's not qualified for that your business. What do? You go say because now you bring a call, you qualified to do it. I asked this question yesterday. Even at church, if I appoint you now, say, come, help me do this thing. And person will not bring you, say, come, help me do this thing. Who you go listen for? Now me, you go listen for, and or that the person will not bring you, you go listen for. Now in Nigeria, today. Okay, they have been hearing our voice through this radio. We have been talking, say, our president, we vote you there. Now, list for us. See the person where can govern Nigeria. See the person where go listen for us. Appoint these people, appoint these people. Nigeria know if you do good, they will talk about you. If you do bad things, they will talk about you. All these people that our president is appointing, are they qualified to do the job? The answer say yes or not. Even though they are not qualified, if they can do the job well, Nigeria will appreciate. If they can make this thing where we are passing through now, issue of skilling, issue of organ, issue of refinery, if one person can up before Christmas, let us put one refinery. Do you think Nigeria, they will not be happy? You see me where they talk here now. the celebration where go so for my mind. I will happy. I'm not going to eat itself. I will go sleep. What we need for our Nigeria, we don't need who qualify, who not qualify. But when down you put you for there, you are not doing what you're supposed to do. We are complaining, no solution. What the last call I asked now is this saying that hot people will continue to rule us. A house where father no day, a house where mother no day. That house, I don't know whether it go start where. Okay, now father day house, mother day house they collapse. Now, what do? Then we could leave the house for there or make the house just there like that. This is the question that Nigeria is asking. Is it me say we cannot do our refinery? Is it me say to go and qualify country?
Thank you. Thank you very much for your submission. Thank you. Okay. So, well, in this same country, we've had ministers who were made ministers, appointed ministers, and they came out eventually at the end to say, oh, I knew nothing about the ministry I was giving. Somebody was made Minister of Education, even though he had an education. He was made Minister of Education and said, I didn't know anything about education. I didn't know anything about. And we saw how that ministry fared under him. Was that people who knew nothing about aviation becoming ministers of aviation? We've seen people who know nothing, next to nothing about, and that's why we continue to suffer, because we appoint people based on, oh, he worked for us, he supported us during the campaign, he did this and he did that, and it's not because they're competent. If Ibrahim Kashim was appointed to the board as a board member who would sit there and learn, personally, I wouldn't have a problem with that. As a director in the board, I don't have a problem, right? As one of the directors. But as chairman of the board, I definitely have a problem with that. Because at the end of the day, when decisions need to be made at board levels, it would end with him. He's probably just going to sit there like he stayed for a couple of years, and things must have gone bad before he realizes some of the things that were done. So if he was made a director and he sat there as a director of the board for 2 years, 3 years, and then they made him chairman, understandably, he must have taken that time, 2 years, to learn some of the things that go on there. No one would have a grouse, no one would have a problem. But you just bring someone from nowhere. Never been come on. What are we saying? Hello, good morning.
Good morning,
Good morning, Chidi into BC. Welcome.
How are you doing?
I'm very well. I'm glad you're here.
Thank God. My people say, if a child talk, you know the child's age. You see, I don't want to handle my time with that topic. The person who employed that young man, if that young man let him have his PhD, he cannot do anything there. What about those people that have been there over 20, 25, up to 30 years? What do you think those men and women are doing there? Are they not learning? And then he will come from nowhere and say he's okay. Trace from where that boy is coming from. That's a part. This our senior man. I'm saying that to see and feel that something is happening in my country. There are lacunas that give those people chance of doing whatever they want to do and get free. Look at in a Senate, a whole Senate, that the National Assembly as a whole, the presidency will nominate their leader. What do you think? What do you think those people they choose
will do for this country? What do you think that they will contribute to the welfare of the masses? Oh, look, we are kidding unless they look into the constitution critically and change what's supposed to be changed that will affect the lives of the masses. Constitution is something that leads people, discipline people, and gives people a sense of belonging. If not that, and that is why we are suffering in this country.
Okay.
If we have a stipulated constitution that guides, that protects the interests of the masses, these people that say that politicians are at the top of our heads, we don't have that privilege to make things up. It doesn't happen anywhere. Yeah.
Thank you, GDMBC. Thank you.
We can't have our kids well, though.
Thank you. Thank you for your submission. Abdullahi Mekano says some people are supporting APC blindly and with selfish interest and devil advocacy. Under APC connection is better than education and competency. Nigeria can never progress under this system. We are finished as a nation. We're not finished yet. Abdullahi Mekano, we're not finished.
Good morning, Ian.
Good morning, Elder Onoja. Good to have you.
My regards to your family. Abubakar, Gogalada, and Salati. I don't know if they listen to us. They complain about that, but now you have to move it. But if they are listening to us, we are advising them the way to stop the spirit of Nigeria. After that, they refuse to answer us. They came out, when he appointed the boy, everybody came out and said the boy is too small. The problem Nigeria has, they don't know the difference of education, different than wisdom. Let me give you an example. Some people will get money, and then they go and rent big shop for their wives, and put all the provision there. The woman did not learn. She don't know how to sell. Because they got money, they went to open shop. They put those type of women there. In a shop before 1 year, if you go there, all what you are going to see, the cattle. The woman will run it down because he did not learn. If somebody was just coming from university, he put in the director general of FEMA, the technical department.
Chairman of FEMA.
Chairman
of the board.
As a FEMA, a technical department. When engineer 20-something years, 30 years, they are there. Road management. And he can't work. We don't know, say government, they hear them here also. Me, I have been complaining, and I have advising them the way out, the way to solve the spirit of Nigeria. Nobody answers me up to now. I don't know, say they hear us. May they hear us, We spirit advisor will have advising them the way out.
Thank you. Thank you,
Elder Noja.
Thank you for your regular contribution and advice. Guessing that one day it would pay off and they would hear you loud and clear. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr.
Good morning. Is this Moses?
Yeah, it's Moses.
Moses, welcome. Good to have you.
Yes. Yeah, on the issue on the ground. Well, they say experience is the greatest teacher. Is that not?
Absolutely.
Yeah, experience is the greatest teacher. When we look at the other side, we look at the both two coins. There are some of these analysis you have made. And there are some people who have been getting some portfolio, government portfolios, and they don't have the experience. So they have people guiding them. But the issue is, that is why we are suffering in this country. That is why I continue to respect this woman today, Ngozi Nwala, the financial, the Minister of Finance. You know, when they place her in that position, Obasanjo brought her to because of the experience and not only qualification, but experience. This woman, when she came, she fixed this country, whereby our external debt was even reduced, which is a great kudos. Then coming to the underage, bringing them to a portfolio in the government. Well, it's part of Tinubu's nature, because I remember when he was the governor of Lagos, a young boy, to rule Lagos for 1 day. You remember?
Absolutely. That was
governor,
child governor. Yeah,
I still remember because I was NTA.
It was a thing at the time. Every year there was a child governor who would sit there for 1 day.
Yeah, we sit there. and gave another that he has no access for any withdrawal from the government's custody or whatever. He gave him free hand. Whatever he said, the state should follow. So the issue is, you can't just take somebody, especially in a country like Nigeria, where people are eyeing on a certain position. Bringing somebody who is not knowledgeable and experienced. The knowledge is not information you get from the school. That's what I'm talking about. The knowledge of the system. The emotional knowledge of the system. It counts. Because to rule in Nigeria in any sector you have been appointed for, in government practices, you must have that experience. You must have that knowledge. You must have that emotional and that saka that will help you to withstand some of the challenges that will come. Okay, look at when this young man was appointed in EFCC something. Very young man. He explained when he was presenting his manifesto to the Senate, everybody celebrated. But come and look at the end of the day. Because of the pressure on the ground, he was not able to end it all.
All right,
so
Moses.
what are we saying? The experience
thank you very much, Moses.
and also maturity is what is counts, not of age. Thank you.
Thank you, Moses. And again, finally, one of the issues that we have in this part of our world is that a lot of young people do not get in early. So if, for instance, so you can literally find a 17, 18, or even 20-year-old, right, in circles abroad, right? They are learning. So by the time they turn 25 or 27, even 24, some of them have worked within those places and are very familiar with what goes on there. They probably worked there by the time they turn 24, 25, they probably worked there for 5-6 years and have gone on to get a master's degree and even a doctorate degree. They probably get a PhD at 25 or 27, right? And that completely qualifies them to be directors or anything, directors of agencies and all. That should be the case here. But in this country, even those whose parents they don't have a reason to work. Meanwhile, some others, their counterparts whose daddies and mummies are nobodies, have not even been able to graduate or maybe even gotten admission to the university. Because, they don't even have anybody to help them get admission, or they don't know anybody. And they probably cannot even pay themselves, or their families cannot even pay them through the university. So they have to work and do menial jobs and all of that. And those menial jobs, the experiences may not be cognate enough when they get up there. So it's a fundamental problem we need to start to solve. If you want your kids, as a man of means, to take up positions at a young age, then by all means get them to learn the job. Internship is a thing, but a lot of people will not even do it. That's a way to garner experience. So for those of you who are in school now, intern, volunteer, that's the easiest way to gain experience. As a student, you can volunteer the time to whatever field that you desire. Get in there, and as quick as you can, also get involved with things around there so that you're able to grow up, climb up the ladder as quick as possible. That's the only thing that helps some of us. Getting into the workspace as early as possible got us to learn and get 10, 15 years of experience, and some of us get 5 years of experience way ahead of our peers because we were able to, volunteer, intern here, volunteer here, and all of that makes for good work. So if you know that you want to take an appointment in the Ministry of Health, for instance, go there and start working there now so that you understand how things work there. AB Case from Kubwa says, Good morning, Hanacho. The first caller just wanted to argue for argument's sake. Anyway, leave that. I like the swift approach of the president by reversing the appointment of that 24-year-old man. I am in support of inclusiveness of youth in government, but in doing so, let it be that such youth must have working experience to head or lead such agency. So I'm not an NCE or B.Ed holder.